All right, good morning and thanks for joining us on the Tuesday edition of TVC Breakfast. I'm Veronica Dan Igboy. And today, drum rolls, I'm being joined by the birthday girl, the delectable Kemi Fola-Adeyemo.
Good morning.
Happy birthday.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Oh my goodness, I didn't see that coming, but thank you.
Of course, you're not meant to see it coming.
Thank you. This means a lot to me. Thank you.
Of course, happy birthday. I will wish you all the best,
Right.
more fulfilling and wonderful years ahead.
Thank you. Amen.
Right, today we'll be looking at an array of issues. Today we are looking at Naira rebounding, how we've been able to rebound the Naira, and then we are also looking at the off-cycle elections happening in Imo, Bayelsa, and Kogi states. And then we're also going to look at the response of Labour Party's presidential candidate in the presidential elections of 2023. He responded to the Supreme Court judgment, and that is where we will begin this morning. The candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 presidential election, Peter Obi, on Monday said his dream for a new Nigeria has not ended with the October the 26, 2023 verdict of the Supreme Court. Mr. Obi spoke at a press conference in Abuja about 2 weeks after the Supreme Court affirmed the February the 25th, 2023 electoral victory of President Bola Tinubu of the All Progressives Congress. Mr. Obi, who faulted the judgment of the Apex Court, agreed that the end has come to the legal battle of the last election. Addressing his supporters, popularly known as Obedience, the former governor of Anambra State said a destination is not an event, but a journey.
Look at the level of people they said now are going into temporary depression and everything. That's our commitment for now. We want to start talking about issues that put people out of poverty. We want to deal with the issue of hunger, issue of productivity and everything. As we go along, we'll know. We don't regret anything we did. We came out and campaigned on a new Nigeria. No other party did. And we remain, our position remain consistent. We're consistently consistent on that, on a new Nigeria.
And in a swift reaction, the presidency has reacted to Labour Party presidential candidate in the last election, Mr. Peter Obi, describing his comment as contradictory and delusional. In the press release by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Mr. Bayo Ononuga, where he argues that Mr. Obi is only copying the PDP's, his PDP counterpart, Atiku Abubakar, who refused to accept defeat, but rather cast aspersions on the judiciary. According to him, he wondered how someone who came a distant third will lay claim to victory. He accused Mr. Obi of running the most hateful, divisive, and polarizing campaign that pitched Christians against Muslims and one ethnic group against the other. And the presidency also went ahead to talk about how Peter Obi also benefited from the judiciary in 2007 when he was named the governor of Anambra State. And so many things were said with regards to the presidency's response to that statement. He was asked to, now that he has said that he and the Obedience group would effectively be in the opposition, the presidency has accepted that they should work towards 2027. Kim.
Well, it's good that, this is balanced. It's also good that we have reached the point. All the parties have now, responded somewhat to the decisive verdict of the Supreme Court. Last week, it was Atiku Abubakar of the PDP who also responded. And now it is Peter Obi who came third in the election. I think it's also instructive to add that he came third. And, my takeaway is that he has accepted it, even though there are elements where that drew so many controversies because, eventually, like the APC said, this is an individual, that's the former governor of Anambra State, who has also, benefited from the judiciary, from the judiciary's intervention in diverse matters. And now all the courts, at least, in his own case, the court, the initial court, that's the Court of Appeal, in the initial petition, and now the Court of Appeal has spoken. And even the APC had also had issues with the victories that, Peter Obi accrued in the 12 states in the fallout of the presidential election. But of course, he's not talking about that. So he's focusing on the victories. And like it has been stated, you came third. So how do you now want to justify? But it's good to know that all of that is now in the past. Yes, he has, admitted that he has now officially joined the opposition, and, they will continue to do their work as opposition parties, at least between now and 2027 in their mandate for a new Nigeria. So I think we should all just, focus now and look towards the bigger picture. Everybody is desirous of a new Nigeria, basically, and we hope we get there, much quicker than, despite the challenges that we are facing. But it's time to move on, indeed.
Absolutely, time to move on. And from his speech, talking about Peter B's speech, it seems that there were lessons they had drawn from their experience of the last presidential election. He talked about how they were ready to take the message of a new Nigeria to the grassroots. Recall that they garnered so much following on social media as against the grassroots, where we know that most of other political parties were playing, so to speak. And that was some of the issues that a lot of persons had with the obedient movement and the party themselves. And from the statement he is making, it seems, I'm glad they are drawing lessons from their experience, that the message and the real deal is to get to the grassroots. In fact, as Sam Omashaye will say, there is the grass and there is the root. Get to the root first and then address the grass. And so now that they are saying that this message is to go to the grassroots, I believe that they have decided to return to the drawing board to see perhaps where were the lapses, and to begin to look at how they can be that vibrant opposition that the country needs at this point. Because that's the same thing that even when the presidential candidate of the PDP spoke, everyone has been talking about. What Nigeria needs now as a democracy is having a vibrant opposition, so as to put this current administration on its toes to deliver on the promises it made to the people during the campaigns. And we are hoping to see that healthy, I'm emphasizing on that word, healthy opposition from these persons. Yes, they made propositions. For Atiku, he said that there should be a 6-year term, single-year term for the presidency, but Peter Obi is saying 5-year, and it should be rotational. And I'm wondering how that will play out at the end of the day.
It's going to be a long road, if there indeed the majority of Nigerians, agree on all fours with these propositions. It's not going to be the first time we'll be hearing such suggestions, but it's going to be a long haul. Because look at the issue of state police, that continues to remain on the front burner, and we are yet to have that. And so, well, it remains to be seen how far they want to go, because now that, the status of, nationalist, it also remains to be seen how well and how far they are going, because it's not just, for the president, it's not just for the Tinubu administration to put to also match its words with actions. It also remains to be seen how the opposition wants to go about their mandate now as statesmen. Yeah, and these are well-respected individuals. Peter Obi, before he ran, has always been a very well-respected person. When he speaks about the economy and, state of the nation, people always, carry his words heavily. And so it remains to be seen how well it's going. But we saw how the electoral campaigns were. They were intense, and that's a positive, but they were very divisive. And we hope, like you said, positive engagement with the youth at the grassroots level. I think that is very important. that as you're driving, because you did so well, 12 states for a first in your, for you to have, come this far, 12 states is not,
and
it's
you
not
were
a small.
forced to reckon with.
No, at all. You were not, as in, I didn't even see it coming. He was really popular. He rode on the wings of the youth, and he attributed his success to them in this, his latest
Absolutely. He said they
speech.
were being patriotic.
He said, and then he said he wasn't going to take all of that, for granted. But the divisive nature of the campaigns, especially from the obedience, I think it will not help them, in the long run, because we all, have drawn the ire of the obedience, in the course of our job. And this is not the first time we'll walk the path of presidential elections, but it was such a dirty, it was such a divisive, campaign. And we hope that, eventually and it was a plus, seeing the youth so involved. But then we also saw how the youth could also be used, quote and unquote, to divide the nation. And that is not what we need now. In our quest for a new Nigeria, it's also good for you to buy goodwill from not just the youth, from not just, one section, but all over the country, if indeed you want to fulfill your dream of a new Nigeria.
Absolutely, because like I mentioned earlier, we want to believe that the lessons have been learned. And, extending the hand of fellowship across the country is very important, because we saw that was how the President Bola Tinubu was able to gather the numbers. And it's important to note that numbers are critical, and you must get them across the board. And it's important that these lessons, they take them seriously as they look to spread the message to the grassroots when it comes to the message of a new Nigeria. We'll leave this conversation here now.